Okay, so let me just do a little story time here. So I used to work at this place. I don't know if I could get in trouble like talking about the place like this, but so I guess I'll just call it something else. I just whatever. I worked at this job, and my job partnered with another place. They're both senior care facilities, and so I quit this job a long time ago because my client who I was taking care of like 24, not 24/7, but 40 hours a week or whatever. My client had passed away, and I was in school and everything, and I ended up I was seeing other clients at first, but it was just not working out for me because they were having me mostly go to this other place that they partnered with, and I didn't like working with the other people there because I didn't like how they treated the job. Like, it wasn't like they were there because they cared about the clients. It's just like they were there because it was convenient, and like a lot of them like to like sleep and this and that. They just did bare minimum, and I was there because I genuinely loved the people, like the seniors. Well, anyway, I was just sick of it, so I quit that and went to stripping. And then when I got with my boyfriend, I'm like, okay, maybe, this isn't the best for a relationship. Maybe I should go back to my old job. So I go back to my old job, but there's a whole new crew, like a new manager, everything. There was some people who were the same, like the lady at the front desk who I really liked, but everybody else was different. And so I'm like, whatever. I was literally there a week, and every day was horrible. The very last day, my last day there, it was crazy. So they gave me a schedule because on the phone you get like your schedule, and it tells you where to go and this and that, because you go to different people's houses to take care of them. Well, usually you do one-on-one care unless you get sent to the facility. Well, I told her, this facility you partnered with, this is the reason I quit, one of the reasons I quit in the first place, because I really hated working with these other people. Like, I'd rather just do the one-on-one work. She said, no problem, I won't put you in a facility. Well, I get to this place, it's a facility. So I was about to just leave, but then I'm like, well, no, they might really need you. Like, you could be sent here for a reason or whatever. Like, just go in and do it, and then talk to your boss about it tomorrow or whatever. It would have had to been the next day because they were going to be closed or whatever. Because you can only call from like 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and it was I think it would have been after hours after my shift. But anyway, so I don't really remember because this is a while ago. But so... and I'll explain why I'm talking about it now at the end. But, so when I get there, I was doing one-on-one care, but it was in a facility. So I had a client, and then it was really bizarre. Like, I guess this client, she was like a tough client, so they gave her to me, and then everybody else, like, had everybody else. So there's like 3 other people working with me, and those 3 women had the rest of the floor of people. So we were like feeding them and this and that, getting them changed, feeding them, I took my girl to the activity room. The other people just stayed. I don't know what they were doing. But anyway, so, it was worse than the other place. Just the way that they were all treating the clients, it made me want to throw up. So, my last straw was, like I said, a lot of last straws, but so we're eating, or we're not eating, but the seniors are eating, and I'm feeding my lady, and she's just so sweet. She's the sweetest. And, I'm feeding her, and she's not, or my lady was eating fine. Oh, that's right. So my lady's eating fine, but they were all so sweet. All of them were so sweet. Well, anyway, the other girl was feeding this other lady at this other table, like about maybe like 4 feet away from us or something. Like 4 feet from the tables. So she's feeding her, and the girl, she's like kind of nonverbal. I think she had Alzheimer's, and I think mine was, had dementia, but it wasn't Alzheimer's yet or whatever. So she was not talking, and she was just like kind of like this, like kind of like falling asleep, and the girl's like shoving food in her mouth, and she's like, chew that food, and she starts like physically pushing her mouth to make her chew this food. And I'm like, what the actual heck? Like, what? And I was getting so mad, but I didn't want to like sit there and make a scene, especially in front of my client or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'll just wait and do the responsible thing and talk to the manager. You know, like me sitting here saying something to her isn't going to really help the situation. I'm sure this has been going on for a long time. So anyway, I text my boss. I thought it was my boss. I'll just call her B. So I text B. Well, there's two B's at the place I work, and so I text B thinking that it's my boss and it's the other B. So the whole time I'm texting her and she's texting me back, and she's also a manager, but she's not like the HR manager, which is the one I'm supposed to report stuff like this to. So I'm like, I can't call you right now because I'm with my client, but I just want to let you know, like, this is going horribly. People are, because the way they were, like, feeding them, the way they were changing them, everything was horrible. The way they were talking to them, like, they were just talking to them like dirt, like, ugh. It was like how people talk to their kids when they think that their kids aren't, like, to be respected human beings, because, you know, apparently, if you're between, like, ages 30 and 60, maybe not even that, more like 40 and 50, that's when you deserve respect. Any other human, you don't deserve respect, especially if you're disabled or a certain color. Like, it's freaking ridiculous. Although in the care system, most of the people are white, so the color thing is not an issue, and I don't even remember the other thing I said. But yeah, it's just because they're old, like, they're treated differently. Like, what the heck? It makes me so mad. But anyway, so I'm texting this lady. She's like, oh my God, that's horrible. And I told her I'm going to tell the manager here. She's like, okay. So the manager comes in because I'm like, I need to leave. It's the end of my shift. And she's like, well, you didn't change her, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I changed her, you know, at this time and whatever. And she's like, well, she needs to be changed again. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't change her by myself. Like, literally, you don't have a Hoyer lift. This lady's like 4 times, maybe 2.5 times my size. And she can't help you. Like, she can't really move a lot. Like, you have to use all your weight to pick up dead weight. And that's why you need a Hoyer lift, but we didn't have one there. So I'm like, I'm not changing her by myself. Like, are you going to sit here and help me? And she's like, no. And I'm like, well, I got to go home anyway. Like, I have to go home. Like, what if I had kids or something to go to, you know, like, or pick up or something? Like, just because I don't have kids doesn't mean I have a life. That's another spiel, though. But anyway, so I'm like, I need to talk to the manager, too. So I talked to the manager. And I'm like, here's what happened today, you know, especially the thing with the food. And she's like, is that it? I just literally told her everything that I just said here. And she said, is that it? I'm like, yeah, that's it. They were force feeding and throwing around and yelling at the clients. That's not enough. And she's like, oh, okay, I'll have a talk with them. Like, she did not give 2 F's. She did not care. And I was like, oh, wow. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just talk to my manager. And I honestly didn't think my manager, I thought very highly of my manager. I thought she was a great lady. So I call my manager, tell her the exact same thing. And I thought I already had told her because I thought I'd been texting her this whole time. Hold on, I gotta plug my phone in. So I'm telling her, oh yeah, you won't believe what else happened, you know, after the text. And I'm like, this and this and this happened. She's like, well, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, what are you talking about? I've been texting you this and that. And she's like, no, you didn't. I'm like, oh my God, I must have texted the other B. Well, let me, you know, update you on what the heck happened. And I'm sorry, you know, I was texting her. I could have swore I was texting you, and she was texting me back and this and that. And she's like, I'm just so mad that you didn't bring this to my attention first. Like, lady, I tried. Like, I was texting you at work and I couldn't call you and I thought I was texting you. Like, what do you want me to do? It was a mistake. It was a mistake. Like, and she's like, well, that's just not acceptable and you're going to have to come to the office and have a talk with me. I'm like, okay, do you even care? Like, I understand that and we can go and talk about that, but like, I'm sitting here telling you that people are being mistreated and you're worried about me texting the wrong person who is, it's not even like a coworker, it's literally another manager. Like, you're worried about me texting another manager and not you. Like, that's the end of the world, but you're not worried about people getting force-fed and thrown around while they're getting changed and yelled at and not having any compassion towards them or anything. And so I'm telling her, I'm like, okay, I'll talk to you about that, but back to the force feeding, because that was the biggest thing. Like, all the yelling and all that was a lot, but I experienced that at the other place. And this was just horrible. Like, she was just forcing her to eat. Like, to me, like, that's like a type of rape. Like, you can't force, like, food and sex are things that, like, you are supposed to enjoy. So forcing someone to have sex or forcing someone to eat, I'm not saying they're the same, but, like, they're both freaking wrong. Like, you can't just force food down someone's throat. That's just horrible. And then she's never gonna want to eat again because she's gonna be traumatized. So, it was just making me so mad. Like, so anyway, I'm telling her this. She's being force-fed. She's like, well, you don't know, first of all, why they were yelling. She was probably yelling because they were hard of hearing. I'm like, no, it wasn't that type of yelling. I have raised my voice. It was like yelling, like being mean. Like, there's a difference between, like, right now I'm shouting. Like, my voice is loud because I'm passionate. But you can tell if someoe's like, here, Miss Barb, eat your food, and Miss Barb, eat your food. You know, those are two different things. Like, two different things. And I'm trying to tell her, like, no, she was yelling. She wasn't raising her voice. She was yelling. And she's like, well, you don't know. Like, yes, lady, I do know. I was there. And I'm like, well, what about the force feeding? And she's like, you just don't know the situation. You don't know how that client is. You don't know why she's doing what she did. You don't know this and that. And I was like, okay, lady. I'm like, I didn't think you were like that. I can't work for someone like you. And so she was like, all right, fine. And then she's like, when are you either, she's like, you need to come here and fill out an incident report. And I was like, okay. So then I just never talked to her again or any of that. And I looked on the schedule, and I was off the schedule. And then I called back and seen why I was off the schedule. And they were like, oh, well, you're not going to be, they say you're not fired, but you're not going to be put back on the schedule until you do an incident report. Well, I know dang well that they were just doing that so I would fill out the incident report. I fill out the incident report, and then they fire me because I've dealt with that crap before. Oh, that's another story. So anyway, I'm like, screw it. And I just never showed back up. And then I never got my check. So today, months later, I'm going to go see if my check is there because I just got my tax thing in the mail the other day. And I had to pay taxes on this, like, $900 or something that I made. And so I have to go in there. I don't think it was 900. I don't know. Something hundred. And so I got to go in there and get this freaking check. So that'll be helpful to have the check, but I feel I'm kind of scared I'm gonna get there and they're gonna be like, oh, we don't like have it, like it got sent back to so and so, because that has happened at McDonald's where if someone doesn't get their check, I've never experienced this, but I know that if someone doesn't pick up their check right away, they just send it back to whomever. And like, so I don't know if that's the case or what. I don't know why they wouldn't. I don't know. I was gonna say they wouldn't mail it to me, but I guess because it was just be inconvenient for them. I'm thinking about calling, but I'm kind of scared that if I call, then B is going to make sure she's the one. Like, I just feel like she's gonna interfere. Like, I don't trust her, you know. So I kind of would rather show up uninvited and talk to the front desk lady who I really like and see if she can help me out. And if they don't have my check, then oh well, I'll just come back another day. And if B tries to talk to me, I'll just, walk out. Like, I don't owe her anything. So that's my story. I guess I'm gonna make another video and say what happens. Hopefully, or if it's just, I get my check and leave, I probably won't. But if B comes out and tries to say something to me, but I don't know. It's just tiring. But I'm gonna go do that, and then I gotta go home and I gotta clean my house. I should do a before and after of my house because it is filthy. But I really feel like I'm not gonna get it all done today. Like, it's gonna be a really long process of like say right now it's like a 4 of cleanness, and then I feel like today I'll get it to like a 6, and then it'll go back to a 5, and then go to a 7, and go back to a 6, go to a 8. Like, I think that's how it's gonna be, because it just, like, it has to get messier in a way. Like, I'm gonna have more recycling, I'm gonna have more dishes, and then I'll do some dishes, and then there will be more again. So that's just how it is. Everything gets dirty. But as far as everything on the floor and all that, I need to really fix that. But I don't know, especially because my dog is coming home. He's supposed to come home tomorrow, but we're getting 4 inches of snow, so I don't know how that'll go. But anyway, that's it. I'll make a video later.